here we go with our Zen. Okay, so you've taken the signpost start. I see. No, you're not actually taking that, which is good.
No.
You have a Sigma. Where is your... Oh, your Sigma's back here. Most unfortunate. Okay. Okay. You can do this. This isn't the worst thing in the world. You starting here. I don't love you and Anna and Sigma all being on top of each other, but we'll deal. We'll deal. I don't think I want you to move at this level. Fine. You move your harmony. Just takes a second.
What's the optimal place to stay?
So
In this
generally,
situation?
I don't mind you getting a little bit of pre-poke here on them from the same spot as your Anna. I'd like at some point you to shift so at least there's a little bit of separation between you two. Do you really peel for Anna by standing on top of her?
Kind of, but that wasn't my main intention. I was just wanting to poke, and generally I see Anna staying back at the bridge,
Yep.
so that's why I want to stay here and far away from him. But I said if I went to the bridge, I wouldn't be participating in the poking
Yeah, no, you
things.
want to get your poke done. Getting your pre-poke done is great. And getting your pre-poke done from here, and then as the fight pushes forward, thinking about, do I want to rotate, create a little bit of separation can make sense. The other option, honestly, is, and this is going to feel a little scary, if your Sigma was correctly holding up here, you might have even thought about, do I want to go here? I have a Sigma
Yeah,
with me. I can kite
exactly.
out, do that sort of thing. But he wasn't going to give it to you. So you're just kind of stuck. And playing on top of your Anna is definitely not the worst thing in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A closed mind.
I'm not convinced that we wanted to drop for that, but hey, we'll take it. Works out. Certainly take the limbs.
Into the iris.
Okay. You get your harmony out there, then you cancel a right click to move the harmony orb. Sure.
Are your own worst enemy.
Uh-huh. Okay. Prepping for the tracer that you do know is here. You know she's there. You're gonna chase it. Okay. Nothing too wild here. I don't know that you want to go into this last right click here. So we do this, fine. This happens. Are you happy with where your orb is right now?
Kind of.
Okay, you're happy.
It's healing Diva. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Kind of happy with it. I don't know that I want to go into another right click here. Like, you immediately go into a right click. Maybe that makes sense. I probably wanted my Harmony Orb on someone more aggressive than Diva right now, right? Diva's chased
Yeah.
out Tracer, but Diva's in zero danger, yeah?
Yeah.
And you've sort of been struggling and sort of missing and having to reapply your Harmony Orb to your Hanzos and your Widows here. You sort of recall what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Correct.
I'd have probably said, hey, let's at least move our Harmony Orb to one of the two snipers who are the most far forward, who have the most aggressive positioning, rather than the Diva who's sort of already done her job of pushing out the Tracer. Does that mean that you aren't looking for this shot on the Tracer? No, of course not. You can move your Harmony Orb basically instantly, and even if it does somehow delay you, well, then you'll just shoot left clicks instead of right clicks at Tracer here. But sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the doubts that plague.
And we get into this. And we'll do this because it matters. You go into your right click, you get 2, you get 4, and you cancel the 4. Honestly, I'd consider just protecting your Widow with this right click. Like, you had 4 orbs charged up, and I want to get my Harmony Orb on the Widow, but is getting your Harmony Orb on the Widow worth more than sending out a 4 orb?
Honestly, I don't know the correct answer to that question.
That's fine. That's fine. So, well, it depends. Are you gonna hit your 4 orb or not? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But, but am I? Okay. So that's fine. We'd like to get our Harmony Orb on our Widow. We'd like to get our Harmony Orb on our Widow as quickly as possible. But we actually offer some level of protection with with sending a 4 orb, like maybe waving a 4 orb sort of across our Widow there. Is it perfect? No. But like a Genji that dashes into her, a Genji that's trying to play in Genji spots right above, above and sort of behind her. You can threaten those places with this. I would be perfectly happy to let this go and immediately apply my Harmony Orb behind it. Like you can send out your 4 orb, and then sort of as your orbs are on the way, you can apply a Discord Orb. Well, as your orbs are on the way, you can apply a Harmony Orb too. So I'd really rather do that than this kick here. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it also like protects her, or it's a way of protection, and it doesn't take that long time sending it and orbing Widow.
Exactly.
So I get your point, but I wanted to ask. Wait, I forgot the question.
It's all good.
Yeah,
It'll come to
yeah,
you.
yeah, it'll come, it'll come.
Okay. Okay.
I need healing.
I know the doubts that plague you.
A little slow on the adjust down with your aim there, but that's okay.
Yeah, I remembered the question.
Sure.
Uh, should I like try to remove the habit of kicking? Because as I noticed, the only benefit to kicking is kicking a 4 charged or 5 charged right click is stealth, and here they,
They know exactly where you are.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
most probably they know, or at least one of them too.
Correct. I
Yeah,
generally don't want to kick away my 4 or 5 orb. I generally don't want to kick away a right click unless I am in a position where I'm on kind of an aggressive, kind of a greedy angle, and there's not something here, but I'm pretty sure I can get something next time if they still don't know I'm here. If you're shooting from where they already know you are absolutely correct that you go, I might as well just send this out. Someone might walk around a piece of cover into my orb, right? Like this Genji was dancing back here. There's no reason he's not going to walk around into this if you shoot on one side or the other of it. Or if there
yeah,
was no one here, there's no reason not to just go, I'll send a 4 or 5 orb right here, a 4 or 5 orb right here, a 4 or 5 orb right here. Like you're absolutely correct. We don't particularly like this kicking.
yeah.
Good question. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, we're just a little slow on our 180. Just like we were a little slow to dash on the ball or to turn on the ball when we know the ball is pile driving.
Yeah, I think my DPI is a bit too slow, but I feel like it helped me aiming
Yeah, no, it
small
helps
target.
you aim, but it makes the 180s harder. It's a balance. I totally get it. Do you have a lot of mouse space or no?
Yeah, a huge mouse pad.
Okay. Okay. Up to you, but ultimately, being able to 180 quickly is powerful and it definitely helps. And, honestly, the ball one, for example, like, I don't care what your DPI is, you have to be, that's like a 90-degree turn down. That's not the 180 that we're talking about with the Genji. Like, that's got to be pretty quick. And even this, like, even if the DPI is, in a situation where, hey, you have a tough time turning, and honestly, it shouldn't. Like, if you have a ton of space, you just move your elbow more. You really want to practice this 180 to a degree. You get here. You do. But we'd like to be a
Yeah,
little faster. But that's okay. Yeah.
yeah, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask, I just remembered.
Sure.
Oh my god, I forgot again.
No problem. No problem.
Gaze into the iris.
Yeah, should I be like what do you call the flick shot? Yeah, should I be flick shotting more with Zen, or focus on it more? Or...
As opposed to tracking? Like, what do
Yeah,
you mean by that? So, yeah, I mean, you should definitely, your aim on Zen is going to be, all aim really has a little bit of a combination, in fact, going on. Some of it leans pretty heavily on Fleck. Zen, I mean, you're sending a single shot projectile. You're not sending a OI hold down left click. You should be aiming each individual shot. Now, you should be clicking fast enough that you're basically sending the orbs out at their maximum fire rate, but you should be aiming each individual shot, and that mostly does mean flicks. I mean, they can be small flicks, very similar to, okay, are they so small that you're effectively doing, we're going over here, we're sort of almost in tracking range? Sort of, but like, I don't need you to like aim away so you can flick back, if that's what you're asking, but
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Sure, you decide not to push the Genji by yourself. Good move. You're going to put a Harmony Orb out, and you're going to W into this. And I just don't see a great reason to W into this. Like, there's a couple things I don't like here. One, hey, I sort of get why you did this. Like, oh, I want to approach from two different directions, but both of your tanks went one way, and you're going the other way. And maybe I can live with that. I'm going to move my Harmony Orb to someone I can see here. I'm not going to keep pressing W into this, though, am I? Like, hey, I don't really need to see this, and if I want to see this, I'm going to peek with a 5 orb pre-charged. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but here I honestly wanted to poke for Anna and keep Kree alive. Like keeping her alive means keeping Kree alive, so that's why I went left side.
Okay. I can get behind going left side, but let me put it like this then. You know you're showing up at a place where it is very, very likely enemies are going to be at, yeah?
Correct.
We haven't really done anything important. We've fought a Genji here. We haven't really done anything important between here and here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the Harmony Orb to figure out, and the Harmony Orb just came back to you, and that's a little annoying, and that might delay now you starting a right click. But honestly, you should already be charging a right click because you know that as soon as you open this angle, there's going to be an enemy to put a 5 orb into.
100%.
Right. So we should really be rounding this corner in an ideal world with our Harmony Orb out, with a 5 orb charged, all of those things. Instead, let me get up here, let me get my Harmony Orb up, whatever. I get it, it was a little hard. Ultimately, the Harmony ends up on our Ana. If we wanted it on our Ana, well, we could have gotten that a bit earlier. And now we're shooting left clicks. And we could go into left clicks from here, but we'd have liked to have a pre-charged 5 orb because, again, we knew what we were doing, and we can store power during that rotation in the form of, charging our right click there, and we didn't. I then don't like that you're Wing quite as hard as you are here. Now we're S-ing out, but hey, now you're missing a bunch of health. And again, you're not really letting your kit do its job. You let yourself fall back, no problem. There are things to do from here. You can shoot at the Winston, you can start charging a right click, and you're at 77 HP. All of those things are perfectly fine. I don't really want to go step forward again like you're now doing, because if you get zapped, if you get even touched, A, you could get eliminated very, very easily, but B, you're going to turn off your shield recharge. So I want to be staying out of this Winston Tesla range. I don't want to push desperately up into this. Oh, if there's a barrier in the way, great, I'm gonna have to shoot the barrier anyway, and I can shoot the barrier from further back. Or if I'm, there's nothing to shoot at, fine, I'll start charging a right click while tucked even harder, and then I'll open and throw the right click, and I'll have recovered, a good 50, 60 shields by the time I have to expose myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Team
Soldier 76.
Adversity is an opportunity for change.
activating the barrier.
Okay.
Gaze into the iris.
There's a point in time here where I didn't know where to stay, and eventually I figured it out. So when it comes, I want to ask you if this was a good place and a good timing.
Sure. Okay. So I want to start with this. You come up here. This is better. You round this corner. You pre-charged your power. This is exactly what we're talking about. Now you can decide if you want to move your Harmony Orb, but it looks like your Harmony Orb's in a fine place, and you can get your Discord Orb out. So this is basically correct, except, do I want to be on this bridge?
Not really. I can tuck right.
You can tuck right. It's a little awkward to tuck right. Your cover's sort of far away. Like, it's sort of the high ground itself is the cover, but it's a pretty shallow high ground cover. They can kind of shoot at you from here, and you can't really take away the cover terribly quickly. You can try to fall off the bridge, but then you've still got to move a little. But yeah, it's not the worst place in the world, but usually you might have walked out here to get the Discord on who you want or to get the 5 orb off, but you're probably going to want to ease your way back in pretty quickly here. Instead, you're going left, which is making you more vulnerable. Okay. Reloading in the open. Reloading in there. Winston Bubble. Go ahead.
So is the left bridge of the left side of the bridge the better place?
Left side would have been great because it would have set up nice crossfire angles for your team. But honestly, the only support you'd have had over there was Tracer. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love a situation where I get to shoot from here and I have other people on my team shooting from here. I would love that. I don't necessarily like what I have to do to rotate across as Zen, however, to get to it.
Yeah.
Zen is pretty darn squishy.
vulnerable.
You don't have a Diva helping you. You don't have a Lucio helping you. Like, that's a little scary in my mind to just do. And there aren't any tanks over there to help heal for you, or a Brig or anything.
Darkness falls.
Yeah. I think here. Yeah. Here I didn't know where to go.
Yeah, no, you can just take back this spot right here, which I think is what you're going to decide on.
Group up.
Okay.
Open your mind.
Again, you might like a situation where, like, you and someone else are over here, but I'm actually pretty good with you here. I wouldn't go over here alone right now, so. Well, you have different plans. Okay. Couple things happen here. Get the Discord, that's great. You decide to start charging a right click. What's wrong with charging a right click right now?
I'm charging in the open.
Potentially an enemy could show up. I'm not super worried because, hey, there aren't any enemies out here, and I sort of knew that. You could do a quick check and go, hey, is there someone I should be left-clicking before you start charging this right-click? That's one possibility, but there's actually another greater issue that I'd get into.
I think the only thing would be like it would make me slower, and the Discord might disappear from Winston if I didn't like took a glimpse of him.
Mm-hmm. Discord orb. There's something there.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
Harmony.
There you go. You went into a right click without your Harmony out, and there's no reason for that. Like, your Sigma's right here, just throw your Harmony on it. It costs you nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Fine. Again, I don't think you go into a right click here. So, like, this one I'm going to let go. The fact that, like, you immediately realize, wait, this is wrong. You're a little quick on the habit to go into right clicks where you go here without any thought for, oh, it's gone. But, like, is it gone? Like, it's very likely that it's going to be on your screen again in a moment. And sure enough, it is. So you let off your 1-2 orb there. You charge up another one, and I'm good with this. But now I know where that wrecking ball is going. I know where you're going. Wait, if you were gonna back up to shoot at this wrecking ball, I mean, it sort of works out. You're up to 3 orbs. That's almost right. But like, we're really crunching these numbers on some of these. Should we expect them to be off our screen long enough? Or could we have found someone else to shoot at? Or, oh, hey, that's scary. Things like that we want to be aware of. But, okay.
Assistance would be appreciated.
Oh, you just don't even realize now. So, not realizing the tracer was there when we had the camera cheat was one thing, but not realizing the tracer is there right now is a problem. You cannot stay on the ball. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did, but actually, I thought, what can I do? I can't like flick Discord headshot melee in that time when I have like half of my HP gone. So I thought of
Oh, but
like
you have to.
Plat. Yeah,
I mean, you literally have to. And the thing is, remember, if you put pressure on her, she might have gotten rid of half of your health. But if you put pressure on her, force her to use a blink or two, you can make the second half of that health a lot harder to deal with than the first half of that health. Like, you cannot think of the
yeah,
game in terms of, oh, she's 50% won this fight because she has me at 50% health, and the second half is going to go just as fast as the first half. Like, there's fights where the fight doesn't even start until you're down to a quarter health. And I don't mean it like, whatever. I just mean you don't even get to start working on their health, and Tracer's a pretty good example. You wouldn't really get to start working on Tracer's health until you've gotten rid of a few blinks and recall, right?
yeah,
So it would be pretty normal for Tracer to get you down to half health or a third health or a quarter health before you've done any real damage to her, yeah?
yeah,
So, okay, this is a worse situation because, hey, we are at half health and we haven't gotten rid of her recall or anything like that, but it should still feel like it shouldn't be intimidating to just go, oh, I'm at 20 health. Oh, I'm at 98 health. Oh, I'm at 50 health. Oh, I'm at 105 health. And, the Tracer, the Genji, the Sombra, whatever is at full. You still just have to calm down and fight them, right? You flick over immediately and you calm down and fight them because, hey, they can, especially, what level is this at? Remind me?
slow Plat, high Plat, low diamond.
Sure. So, in the high plat range, sometimes in the diamond range, you're going to find that they're going to freak out and panic a little bit, kind of like you did here, where you started making a mental
Yeah,
mistake when Tracer got on you. If you start shooting at Tracer might start making mental mistakes and start missing a bunch of shots, right?
correct.
Okay. So you do have to defend yourself.
Experience
You just have to.
tranquility.
You use our trans, which is fine. Like, it's better to use your transcendence than die in an even fight, so I'll live. So, you're gonna be tough. He got the jump on you. We don't want him to get the jump on you. We don't get any real headshots here. We get our Discord orb off, and you managed to not quite hop off the ledge here. You were obviously trying to hop off the ledge to dodge the pile drive. That would have been
Yeah,
correct enough. You needed to either hop off the ledge or use the door frame. You'd set up in such a way that the ledge was more appropriate. We can't afford to get hit by this. And now you're trying with that last shot to the headshot. We do want to make sure we're trying for those headshots against him because you would have needed headshots to catch back up in that fight. So that's okay. We just didn't get off the edge. And we got jumped. We don't like getting jumped, but hey.
I'm a man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
I've got nothing to hide.
Be one with the universe.
Okay. Yeah, you've got an Anna for the Winston. You can afford to keep your Harmony on the DPS. Works for me. Okay. Get our orbs out. Spam that effectively. Here we are. We're spamming as best we can. We're gonna move that. Sure. And we have to retake high. Was the drop because you felt you had to drop to keep aim on him? Was the drop to get you separated from the Anna? So if you came after the Anna, it was harder to combo onto you?
Separation.
Yeah, okay. It's fine. That one's sad, Genji. So I could predict that Genji was gonna die because he was purple and had no health and discorded, and like I just don't care that you're nanoblading at that point. But that's fine. I get why you didn't make that read.
I'm just getting started.
Okay. Sure. Okay, we're gonna reset.
Some applied science.
Reset ourselves to some high ground.
Hello there. This will protect us.
Okay. You see the diva. I don't know why we gotta cancel there.
You are your own worst enemy.
Unfortunate. Okay, you could drop,
I think,
but like, do you want to
I
drop?
think that was no, no. I think that was a slip.
Okay, good. Because reality is, we want to keep pressure like going into that tunnel. It does a very good job of making it hard for the opponents to walk forward. And yes, it leaves
Yeah.
us vulnerable to some spam, but we want the pressure on that tunnel.
No, actually, this was the place or the timing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt scary here because the payload's so close. I know that most of their team is up there, but
Yeah,
I said they have divers, so they can get easily to me here.
sure.
So I rotated a bit, and I think like tucking here inside was better, wasn't
Okay.
it?
Um, I mean, you could tuck here inside and go, hey, is there someone I can threaten over there? Is there someone coming through here? Can I now cross hit these guys over there? I don't mind that. My preference probably would have been to retake high ground because it gives you a little bit more protection if there is divers wandering around that you've lost track of. Yes, a diver can come through here and potentially get you even if you're on high ground, but if you're on high ground, you have the option to drop if that diver comes through. If you're here and a diver comes through here, for example, you might see them coming. And again, I'd be okay if you rotate over here and go, let me hit this crossfire. I don't think it's terribly likely that there's someone over here. Turns out there's an Anna over there. Like, I think that's not fair. In a better game, there would be someone over there. That's not fair of me. So what I'm going to say
Yeah.
is, yeah, I'd like you to retake this up here. And I'd have liked you to not drop, but this would sort of be the secondary choice over here. Make sense?
And yeah, it does. And honestly, the reason for my panic here was because I slipped,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I'm missing by each second.
You're
I
missing the
was feeling
fight.
like
It's
I was,
putting more pressure
yeah,
on you. You feel like
missing
you
a
got to
fight
do
and
more
missing,
now.
yeah,
Yeah, I get
and
it.
more benefits are getting like lost.
Yeah, no. At least your orbs are out, but mm-hmm. Okay. So you do this. Yeah. She's just recalling. She's not going to be gone very long. And you've got a right click here. You're very fast to go into these right clicks, and it doesn't seem like there's any thought of, hey, is there another target on my screen? Should there be another target on my screen before you go into these right clicks? You're like hair trigger for, oh, there's not something on my screen. Let me instantly want to be right clicking. And now we're sort of in this situation where I'd have much preferred to be able to rediscord tracer immediately, take my orbs, individual shots at the tracer, all that. But hey. Okay. A little scared about what's behind you. Okay. Again, we sort of hit this situation where you go, oh, Tracer's gone. I'm going to do a right click. Maybe that would make sense if you hadn't also done the reload here. If you'd chosen to start charging a right click instead of reloading, fine. Oh, you didn't. You just now go into a right click. Which again is sort of like, why? Are we planning to stay out of line of sight for a long time here? You're just super right click heavy. And again, we'll do it one more time. But we go there, fine. You saw the diva. You saw the diva when you harmony orbed that. You can now see the Winston, and now that's going to cause you to fire here. But like the diva was there when you started to go into the right click, and I didn't feel any great need to hide, and clearly you didn't feel a great need to hide either because you re-peaked when you only had 2 orbs charged. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Assistance would be appreciated.
Nerf this.
Good. You're gonna charge during the rotate. You're gonna charge during the rotate. No.
Need a doctor.
Okay. Now give me charging. Hold up.
yeah. I noticed this mistake while playing.
Which is the mistake? Because there's 2 places you could go for your mistake here.
Not charging
Okay.
5 orb. I
Good.
don't see another mistake.
Good.
Can you tell me?
No. That was the mistake. I wanted to make sure you weren't reacting to the high noon because it's your high noon. Like in replay that can get a little confusing. Like I wanted to make sure you didn't think, my mistake was I peaked during a high noon, and I'm like, no, it's fine, it's yours. But yeah.
Yeah.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay, so here, couple things. You didn't have the 5 orb charge. You go do this.
60 seconds remaining.
Sure, we start doing our right-click charge, I guess. I mean, that Harmony Orb is going to be gone immediately, but okay. Cool. Okay. Really? No. Okay. So, we can talk about Genji Duels, I suppose. No big deal. This Genji is not in great shape, right? He's pre-discorded orb. He's at 2/3 health. You're at full health. You have 13 shots in your clip. There's pressure on him. Now he's got his dash back, but he's still not in the greatest shape, right? So, like, this is a winnable duel. This is kind of how you expect duels to... I don't want to say start, but like this isn't a he got you for free. He's pre-discorded. He's missing 1/3 of his health. Yes, he does have dash, which is annoying, but if Genji's never had dash when they fought us, well, life would be too easy. So we're looking at this, and this is the sort of thing that we want to be able to somewhat consistently win. We want to be able to go, at least 50-50 in this type of situation, and we definitely didn't take the win in this one. So let's watch this through in slow-mo. And I don't want to just be like, oh, it's aim, because it's not just aim. That's just like, oh, it's not just, oh, can you put your mouse on the Genji? There's a couple things that happen here. One of which is, hey, this is going on. So let's think about what's relevant to this fight here. He just jumped up in a diagonal motion, which is what Genjis do. So where's he going to move next?
Dash behind me.
Okay, well, you have a little bit of foresight for that one. But yes, his
Yeah.
movement options are limited. He really can't do very much. He ends up dashing here. Great. He's dashing. We can see where he's dashing. Okay, so we're going to adjust for the dash. And he's really did more damage than we'd have liked here. And that's okay. He got a lot of damage here. We'll do this one more time. He got a lot of damage here with the shurikens and the dash. He hits you clearly with multiple shurikens because I think he hit you with multiple shurikens. No, did he really only get you with one shuriken plus the dash there? And then he's going for a combo, and then he's going to turn and do that for the second set of shurikens, and then he's going to take you down. So how do you break up that combo? Or do you just die?
I think I should as soon as he kills one of my teammates, which are who are close to me,
Mm-hmm.
I should left click him once, quickly 180 or have a turn
Mm-hmm.
and prepare for that for him being after behind me
Right.
and then shoot him. Or
Right.
I could just drop down, but I don't know why I didn't do that.
Yeah, no problem. So you've really got two things that I want you thinking about in this fight. We could get into, hey, how he double jumped, so it was actually pretty darn clear that he was going to dash you right there because he didn't have the option to move and he's just hanging in the air, and you're just going to hit him if he's just hanging in the air there. So he sort of forced his own dash, and you can look at that and go, oh, okay, so I know the dash was likely, so I should be even more primed to turn and hit that follow-up left click on him for another one. We can certainly get into that. If you go, hey, one left click on him in the air, one left click on him when he turns, and then maybe finish with the meal, he's done, and oh, you win this battle. That said, that you've got to hit those shots, but there are some things that help you understand what he has to do when he's doing it, that sort of thing. But the other thing is exactly what you said of, wait, I know you want to dash me. I know you want straight lines. I have the ability, and I can win a duel against you. I do want to be able to outfrag you. I do want to be able to beat you, but I can win a duel or force a mulligan in a duel by delaying the fight long enough that my team gets involved again, right? You just surviving and delaying a duel means your orbs continue to get value. He doesn't get any value that he isn't directly contributing himself, right?
Yeah, just as Winston came up to me, but I wouldn't say he was too late, but according to the situation, because I didn't delay much, he
Right.
was too late.
You didn't find a way to slow down the fight. And you had two ways
Yeah.
to slow down the fight. One was just, hey, I'll hop down here. The other was this corner right here. How are you going to dash me, Genji? How are you going to dash me? You know, that sort of thing. Where it's like, hey, this is... Oh, and I know it's going to seem like, hey, we can be a bit of a broken record, though we haven't talked about it a ton in this review, but... This is happening. You're fighting him. Your cover's to the right. You could be drifting right now. You could be drifting right now. And ultimately, again, this is what I was talking about with the double jump where obviously he's high. There's the only thing he can do from here right now is press dash or deflect, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of know what to do. But you could have also been a little tighter over here and just been like, okay, now what are you going to do, Genji? You going to dash me? And he has pressure on him of, wait, are you charging a right click? What's going on here? That sort of thing. So all good. Or you melee him in trans, but you know, all good.
Excuse me for dropping him.
The cycle begins anew.
30 seconds remaining.
Anyone needs some healing?
Time's running out. Let's keep our
Sure.
defense up.
Tactical visor ready for deployment. Tactical visor activated.
10 seconds.
Good job. Calmly get the Discord on him before the Transcendent. Better. Well, okay, so this happens. I don't know why this happened. I think you got baited into this. So this is overall a pretty darn good duel. You go, look at this. Hey, look at this. The duel started with you at 80 health. See? See this?
Yeah.
You're able to go, hey, Discord,
Assistance would be
hit a
appreciated.
couple shots. This is what we want. Mix a million there. Maybe a little more questionable to mix the million at that point. It's not going to finish him. I see this, and I think your brain is just slow because he's already canceled and fired when you start to go into this right click. It's not
Yeah.
the worst right click in the world because he is in, basically one shot range here, but yeah. Oh well.
Chris, I'm sorry, but can you wait for a second? Something
Sure.
came up, like family thing.
Yeah, do what you have to. We'll just rewatch Genji Duels because, those are fun. Just trying to get the parting hit here. Then we head into overtime. Slow-mo Overwatch.
10 seconds remaining.
We must see this.
Good harmony orb over to the soldier. A little sloppy with the one orb, but mostly his movement was well controlled by the door frame.
Repetition
And they're
is
clearly
the
going to get
path
into third, but
to
that's okay.
mastery.
That is okay. We can check out Cassidy on the dartboard here. Deadlock Gang isn't happy with their former leader. That's a pretty big score differential in darts there. Okay, what else do we have going on? What else can we explore as we're stalling? This is always a fun little place to hang out in. Obviously, not every character has good access to here, but it can be fun. Little annoying that you can be like trying to zap down here as Winston, and the platform wants to carry you away, but it can be nice for guarding spawns as the attackers. This one, not quite as good. It doesn't have stuff that's constantly fighting to carry you away, and you can transition onto this, but you can't really lock down this angle quite as well, and this angle is pretty common to have people walk out of. Whereas this one, I'd say people walk out of this one a little more. What else can we go explore on the map? But all the plentiful high ground that you use to get all the way around this map. All these things, they're great, they're lovely. You can't even get on this one with some characters. What else can I stall with? Can just high ground our way through the map. Here, go up here. Jump over to here. This is still high ground, so we'll walk on it. We'll jump over to here. Walkity walk. This can be fun. Obviously, you get either zap the cart, zap the people coming back to contest. Works nicely. Creates a different angle. Nothing too interesting as we get over here. This isn't great even from a defensive perspective because there's just not strong cover available. You just get blown up too hard. This is better from an attacker's perspective anyways. You can take this and zap down here. Defenders obviously have this, though this is more for like a, hey, what are we going to do with a, Widow, Ashe, Pharah type thing. This exists. Anyone can get to it. It's an angle. It works. It can be useful for finishing off this point as an attacker specifically, or as a defender. If you come back, pop yourself up here with a Widow or an Ashe and go, hey, we've got the crossfire now. That said, as a defender, it's not that different from what you'd have over here. It's more often going to get used by the attackers to finish stuff off. Yes, I am just exploring the map because I'm stalling for time until our reviewee gets back. This is just too open. There's not a ton of other great high ground stuff to talk about. And then we kind of talked about third, where you've got that. This can work pretty well defensively, separate from the team, zap people down. This is like the most powerful position on the map, though it's more going to be for keeping it away from the enemy poke DPS, controlling it with your own poke DPS. It's fantastic. Obviously, you can get crossfire by also controlling this. You can do some work from there. Some vulnerability to the attackers pushing through here, or as the attackers, you can push through here and take this and use threatening from here to help break this corner if the opponents are trying to hold on the ground like a silly team there, as opposed to having meaningful portions of their team holding up here. This spot exists. That's pretty much what I've got to say about it. This spot exists. Tends not to get used a ton because this isn't really a place that the cart gets stopped. Like, it maybe seems like it should be. There's an entrance here. There's cover here for low ground contest. There's cover here for high ground contest. This is a pretty good spot that gets to influence it, that sort of thing. Just tends to not be a spot that the cart gets stopped because the cart stop happens around this corner, and then the last one tends to be, end of the point. Okay, hey, I'm done talking to myself. Cool. Welcome back.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You good?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're coming back after the Genji double, trade there. And they got third, which we knew was going to happen, but that's okay. Oh, a little stuck. Oh, you saw a hog. Okay. I'm not sure I want to be here. Yeah. So, that was entirely avoidable. Like, we look at this and we just sort of go, oh yeah, I'm bored, but I'm okay. I can be here because I'm on the second half of third. Well, okay, that might matter if something on the first half of third was stopping these guys from walking forward, but it's not, is it?
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think that there is any dangerous character on Zen from this situation besides Warthog, because I checked the upper side and I knew none of them can not can come. They can, but no one was there, so I felt like it was safe here to stay.
Yeah, nothing could happen. There's no possibility that Genji would walk through here, right click and dash through you, and right click you again and finish you, right?
No, that can happen. But I mean, like, I checked like 2 seconds ago. So
You mean you
if
checked two
it
seconds
was,
ago when we saw the hog through here?
I don't know if I saw him. But like honestly, like I said, if someone
Fair.
came up from behind, I would see him.
Okay. Okay.
Like logically, not practically always, but yeah,
Sure. Okay. So the point here is we don't really want to be holding one of the forward. Excuse me. We don't really want to be holding one of the forward wings as Zen most of the time, and that's sort of what you're doing. You're in a formation right now where it's like we're holding the aggressive forward spot with Zen. Cassie's holding the other aggressive forward spot, and Sigma is holding the sort of back protected spot. Sigma is actually the most protected person on your team right now, even though he doesn't have great physical cover himself, just because of how you two are set up. And you, most of the time, would like to be the most protected person on the team rather than the one protecting by holding the extra lanes here. Make sense?
makes sense.
Okay, cool. No big deal.
And yeah, one of the questions that I had like
Sure.
prepared, would it help like playing a
30
Repetition
certain
seconds
role,
remaining.
like
to
support
mastery.
only, to know like where all the support players like or characters most likely are going to be?
Like
Because
can
I
you play one support character to learn where all the support characters play?
no, my question is like, let's say I'm a main Zen
Mm-hmm.
and a main support in general.
Okay.
Me, I personally like to like change, like to have like different games. Sometimes I like playing Tracer, sometimes Zarya, sometimes
Sure.
Hog. I like to change in this game. So I felt like at a certain time I lost track of like how can I say it? Like the main tanks, where would they be? Support, where would they be? Because I was playing like everything
Mm-hmm.
that should help me, but I think that it didn't.
Yeah, so it should, but it takes, a little bit of application. It's possible that you were doing some stuff just like you were just automatically, sort of not really consciously taking certain spots as supports, maybe, and maybe those went away because they weren't like a conscious decision and you sort of broke it when you started actively thinking about where you should be as Tracer or where you should be as Reinhardt
Yeah,
or something like that. So that just
yeah,
means you need to actively go get it. And once you've actively gone and get it, once you've actively thought about it and incorporated it a bit more, it should stick a little better. Because yes, overall, playing different roles does help you, does give you a better, fuller understanding of the game and a fuller understanding of where that Genji's going to come from, where that Roadhog can threaten, that sort of thing. So like yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about, oh, did I just damage my ability to do this or anything, but we might need to go, hey, let's actively think about where we would set up as a Zen in most of these situations. And most of the time, that is going to be towards the rear of your team, but it's going to be towards the rear of your team in a way that you say threaten the center lane. Or, hey, sometimes it's going to be I want the high ground because that's better. Like, that is very much something you would do on Dorado third, for example, where you'd go, hey, I'm definitely not threatening center. I'll take high ground because that gives me the best sight lines, the best protection, that sort of thing. So we're trying to find good, safe spots where we can see the parts of the battlefield that we want to influence, but also where it's hard to jump on us from other lanes without going through our friends, right?
gotcha.
And we can reinforce our friends by harmony orbing them, by discording their opponents, by shooting at their opponents. Like, we can help make sure that people don't get through our friends to us. Sure, that's fine. Keep spamming it. Interesting. Okay. So you go like this. Okay, you're committed. You're committed to this right click, and I don't have a huge need to come out of it. It might be cool if I had a Harmony Orb out, but it's actually not as important as having your Discord Orb out. Why am I peeking with 2 orbs charged?
Yeah, I think I have a problem at timing. like timing the peak.
Yeah.
Should it be after like 3 or as
Yeah,
soon as
you
I?
can honestly peek with 4 orbs charged. Wait until you have 3 orbs charged, peek with 4 orbs charged, because you can
Yeah,
fire a 4 orb, you can fire a 5 orb, and you can actually hold a 5 orb like until you'd have had a 6 orb. You won't get a 6 orb, but it's not going to
yeah,
force it to fire, and you can. That's plenty of time to aim. Between 4 orbs and 6 orbs, you won't get the 6, is plenty of time for you to aim that shot. You follow what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you do not
yeah, yeah.
need to be aiming this whole time. You're just going to have to live with, let me both find where the target is and aim in that window between 4 and 6 orbs.
Gaze into the iris.
Hey, a little scared. Cool, we're wandering up to high ground. Oh yeah, eating fire strikes. I don't want to stay open. I don't want to keep this angle open. What are you doing? So you did this. We ate the fire strike. That sucks. I'm probably done now.
It's like,
Like, I'm probably not willing to keep this angle open because I just went down to half health, and I kind of want to rotate up to high ground anyway, right?
yeah,
So rather than keep shooting, let's just go, hey, I'll give my health some time to recover. I'll get myself over to more obvious where my Ana is, was, so that I can potentially get healing there if I need to. If not, my shields will start to recover while I'm rotating. Once I get to here, I'll probably start charging a right click. If there's someone there, great. If there's not, I'll hop up here. And this is a good place for me to be anyway, right?
yeah,
Cool. So you do that. Instead, you're out here. And, okay, it's nice that you got a heal shot from Ana there, because if you hadn't, you know, you took a little Lucio damage. That's not our favorite.
yeah. I was stuck here.
Okay, I feel bad for your team. So here we are. Cool. This is fine. Boom. And you're going to drop a Harmony Orb, right? Before going into a right click here, since there's no enemies on your screen?
30 seconds
Supposedly.
remaining.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. Okay. There, now you charge your right click because you burn deflect. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, so this is an obviously funny duel because you're around an invisible Wolfram, but you just saw deflect, and now you both know he doesn't have deflect, so this time you absolutely round the corner with a 4 or a 5 orb charged. Like, that's just not... Why are we rounding the corner with 1 orb charged? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Tactical visor.
I think I didn't like see the deflect or realize that it was used. I don't know. Maybe I just like over panicked here.
I mean, you had pressure because the game is ending, right? Like the
Yeah,
objective
yeah.
is 4 meters away. I do get it, but it's... You just have to be like, hey, I don't have Transcendence. You're not going to be able to force yourself to get Transcendence. So you touching the cart is almost meaningless, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So not a big deal. Just, you know, if
and
it's
almost impossible.
right, this is in the realm of things that I really can't make a deal, can't change, can't make different. So let me work on what I can work on. And if we lose, so what I can work on becomes irrelevant, so be it. I really couldn't have made a difference in the other place. Okay. In this situation, you would have tried to go kart. It's nothing, and it buys no time, but it is slightly better for you to go kart than Soldier, because Soldier has his ult going, and you're like, hey, Soldier, get some value. But it's very close, because
Initiating match.
you going to kart is going to very quickly take your Discord off the table, whereas he's, you know, more mobile. But if he's more mobile, he's not using his ult. Okay.
Ready for battle.
So, we're setting up. We have ourselves the Zen Ana again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers.
Got your Harmony Orb on the Winston.
Escort
Only have one hand on a keyboard, it looks like. There we go. A little better.
My plan
Okay.
merged with that of the
Huh.
payload.
I don't know. I just don't know that you really need to be beelining it to this cart and being like, I'm going to be first person here. Like, what if there had been a Doomfist or a Tracer just chilling up here?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so let your team take some danger there.
Marked by the dragon.
Like, you just existing is a lot of value, is that. Obviously, we want to hit our orbs of destruction, but you just existing with your Harmony and Discord out is a lot of value. Okay, that's, you know, maybe not our favorite little series that we're looking at here. So here you are. You've got a Harmony Orb out. You drop down here for reasons. And this looks like you trying to get aggressive and really make something happen to a degree, which I can live with, but it's sort of like putting things in a bit of a power situation. Your Reinhardt's enough in front of you. I'll deal with it, I suppose. We're just slow on getting that over to Hanzo. And then you decide on the Roadhog. And the Roadhog might look weak, but if I look at the enemy team right now, who's more aggressive right now? Roadhog or Genji?
Genji, definitely.
Right. So that's where the Discord Orb goes.
Embrace tranquility.
Okay, charge up for right click. Ooh, oh, okay. So, like, that wasn't terrible. It's obviously a pretty big open, but, like, you charge up here, you charge up, 3 orbs, you're really a little early here, and I'm not sure why your crosshair isn't on her either. I think you just don't see her, perhaps. Maybe she's using those canyon color camouflage. She's got the red jacket with the red rocks behind her, and, I mean, she's, you know, she's got that going on. Hey, this is her hometown. This is, you know, the Route 66, Deadlock gang. So it makes sense. But you were a little slow to acquire her as a target, which is a shame because, you know, you could have put pressure on her and that shot would have been harder. But that's okay.
See that which is unseen.
Your timing was better on that one than it was on some of the others in terms of you did just about have your 4 orbs before you opened.
Temporary setback.
Hanzo's more aggressive. If we can get it on him, fine. I'm still looking for an excuse to get this orb on Hanzo over Reinhardt. Why?
I really don't have like a correct answer, but like I think it's a habit, like putting it on the main tank who is in open.
Okay. That might make sense if your partner was like a Brig or something. That might make sense if you had a Winston or a Hammond who really is going to be leaving line of sight a lot. Something like that. Preferably a Hammond. But we actually like to put Harmony Orb on aggressive DPS more so than we do on Reinhardt's and Orissas and things like that. And the reason for that is a couple-fold. First off, let's look at your healing setup. Who's Anna going to have an easier time healing? Your Reinhardt or your Hanzo?
Definitely Reinhardt.
Right. And Anna's probably going to pay more attention to your Reinhardt as well. Okay, so that's one question. So then we have a second question. Who gets a greater percentage of their health per second out of Harmony Orb? Hanzo or Reinhardt?
Hanzo.
Right. So now we have another thing. So in the case of a duel or in the case of trading, Hanzo, even though Hanzo might be full health for a fair amount of the time that he has the Harmony Orb actually makes a bigger difference in his fights than it does in Reinhardt's fights. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So we actually really like to enable our DPS. Now, don't get me wrong, it is useful to have your Harmony Orb sometimes on at the very beginning of fights in like a Hammond or a Winston or something like that, because if you can keep them in armor range, they take a lot less damage on the way in, that sort of thing. But really, we do like to go, hey, Tracer, Genji, Echo, aggressive Hanzo, aggressive Casti, DPS that's playing the aggressive angle, if you can give them a Harmony Orb, it can stay on them as they do things like go, hey, he fights something back and then he starts to go through here. And if he runs into someone, he'll still have that Harmony Orb for a second or two, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, so like really Harmony Orb, you want to think of it as it goes on the aggressive DPS if you can pull it off, and your Discord Orb goes on the aggressive enemy. Not necessarily DPS. Tanks are fine. DPS are fine, the aggressive enemy.
Dein Schutzengel ist
Okay, Ash, your nemesis. Charge the right click. Okay, that's fine. Now you'll find a Discord before you charge the right click. Works for me. Okay. So a couple things are happening here. Cool. We'll deal. Good. We're going to move that orb back. That was fine. So here's the thing. You just found a right click. Beautiful right click angle. I like it. Beautiful right click angle. But I'm still going to complain. And the reason I'm going to complain is if this is a shot that you can hit right down here with 5 orbs, if that's a shot that you can hit right down there with 5 orbs, it's also a shot that someone standing here could hit if they opened the angle right back at you, right? Like a Hanzo, a Zen, a whatever
Yeah,
could send damage at you. So is there any
yeah,
reason this angle should be open right now with 1 orb charged as opposed to you just being here and then rotating into it once you have 4 orbs?
no reason.
Okay. Even though there's no one on it, like, clearly there could be, so we might as well close the angle until we're ready to do that. Okay. Sorry, gets the orb. They're being the most aggressive.
Don't worry, my friend.
Huh. Okay.
The payload is move it out.
Sure. No Discord movement there. I'm surprised. Ryan did flash his shield for you. Again, no Discord. We're just sloppy on that there. Like, getting it out when it's not out is a pretty high priority. We can worry about getting it on the right target later. We just want it out pretty badly. Oh, this is a scary place to be. Okay.
Get healed.
I don't love this for a couple reasons. You're getting some help because the cart is over here, and that's sort of like a magnet to the opponents. But do you have any teammate protecting you from opponents just going this
Nope.
way to get on top of you?
Nope.
So I don't really like it. So where do you want to be? Like in your ideal world, you'd probably be more like up over here at this point, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this would be a pretty okay place if you were maybe a Hanzo or Widow to be hanging out, going, yeah, I'm threatening them. But you actually wanted to work your way up more towards the back of your team, as opposed to, this is like you playing DPS. Maybe this has come because you've been playing a bunch of Hanzo, a bunch of Widow, a bunch of something like that. But as Zen, you can do this to be hyper aggressive, like, hey, I need to make something happen. The game is just sort of deadlocked. But it might seem like, wait, I'm super far away. What do you mean hyper aggressive? But like, you're finding an outside angle to do work, but you'd actually most of the time like to work yourself more into these. Hey, I'm a bit nestled behind my team. I'm in these places that are hard to approach. The opponents have a super long rotation to get to me, and they have to go through my team to do it. That's sort of our default because that keeps us alive better, and we don't have very good defenses as that, right?
The shadow
Cool. Okay, good. You pre-charged your right click. Moving our harmony over to the Hanzo. I like it. This is fine with me. This is you going for, I'm quickly going to fish with a right click, and you're getting aggressive with it into their response. That's fine. But as this fight evolves, I'm going to want you to fall into more standard Zen positioning. Well, okay. We can hope. Gonna put yourself on the high ground. High ground. Good, better. Okay, I don't really want to stay here anymore. Do you have your team fighting these guys?
No.
And there was a grab, so presumably there's more than one opponent there, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
So we'll tuck left, and we'll put ourselves in a situation where, again, we can get some of our teammates between us and the opponents. And they might not physically be like teammates here, me here. It might be me here, teammates here, and here. But they're still like sort of between you and the opponents. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, your friend dash. That's an interesting repeat. Okay.
There is disquiet.
Okay, moving your harmony orb. Close the angle. Close the angle. Dancing Zen.
Yeah, exactly. Here, I think I remembered you when you said you can't just beeline
Yeah.
covering.
Yes.
So I had a sniper. My movement was going to be
little less
predictable.
predictable. Yeah, and you see she took a shot at where she expected you to be there. So
Yeah.
that works out. I would probably here go, hey, can I peek through here to get a Discord orb out or something? Even if you don't know these guys are right here, probably looking in
Yeah.
the realm of, if I peek through here, I'll be able to get a Discord orb on the angle they're not expecting and then start to charge my right click. Because this fight is happening and I would like my Discord orb out, but I also don't want to actually stay out there and just be spamming left clicks right now at half health, right?
Yeah.
Cool. If you actually know this Anna and Sigma are right here, you're instead going to charge your right click and then you're going to just deliver pretty close range right click and then immediately Discord behind it. But I suspect you don't know that. Now you do. Charging up the right. Oh, why are we canceling? Oh, to move the Harmony Orb. Okay. I don't really approve of that. Okay. So if you were going to turn this fight, Harmony Orb's great and all. But I basically had to go here and go, this fight is not going terribly well for your team. Is that a fair take?
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw Anna. And that is your key to victory right there. If you're going to turn this fight, you need to make a pick happen because your team is pretty massively losing this fight right now. And a quick 5 orb into the side of Anna when Sigma and Anna aren't paying attention to you could maybe be enough to turn the fight. It's probably not enough by itself, but like, you're behind in a fight, you're basically down 2 in a fight, and you go, standard play isn't going to work. You can't just get value. You need to take a risk at this point. So that's what we'd look to do, and I just don't care about moving there. Like, Bastion got purpled, so I can't heal him with Harmony anymore, so let me move it to Reinhardt. No, don't. That might be fine normally, though I still probably wouldn't interrupt my right click for it. Your Reinhardt's perfectly healthy, but it's definitely not good enough right now. Right now, we need to go, no, I need this to be a 4 or a 5 orb that I can try to one-shot Anna with. Okay. And now you're done, and you're just going to try to rotate out.
Experience tranquility.
Yeah, that hurts. I was too hurt that I stopped for like a second.
Okay, we probably didn't want to jump in front of our Bastion here. Don't get me wrong. I get what you're going for here of like, yes, I'm going to threaten them. This is great. But like, Bastion's going to draw so many eyeballs to him that I just don't really want to peek where he is unless I have something like this Reinhardt shield. Like, I'd want to peek a slightly different angle, even if it was just, we're using the same choke and we're peeking different sides of it. Okay. Hi, Sigma. Harmony Orb, get the Discord on Mercy, break the shield, works for me. Ashe does not like you. We'll just chill. And hope that Sigma doesn't figure out the appropriate range to blow those up at. Good.
My systems are repaired.
Okay. This is the right spot for you to be in, but... Okay, you do this. You can either pre-left click spam this doorway, just fire left clicks at it continuously and say, I dare you guys to walk in. You will take 1 to 2 left click orbs if you walk in, or you can charge a right click like you're choosing to do here. I am totally fine with either. In this case, I'd probably go with the left click spam. Doesn't really matter. But if I'm going for the right click charge, why do I have the angle open? I'm not going to fire this off as a 1 or a 2 orb, am I?
Nope.
So, until I have 4 orbs, I should be like this, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, one of the questions I had,
Sure.
I have many, but one of them is related to this. Wouldn't charging 4 orbs and then peeking remove the Discord I already casted?
Remove the what?
The Discord.
Potentially, yeah. The Discord's potentially going to fall off. You can repeak for an instant if you have to, but which Discord orb are you talking about? You don't have a Discord orb out. So
I had it before Hog Peaks, but the
Sure.
I didn't.
This right here, you have a
Sorry.
Discord on him. You're doing some left
Here,
clicks. Yeah, sure, okay. Here's the thing. Like, here's how I'd look at this, I suppose. Yes, your Discord orb is potentially going to fall off, but like, you already think your Discord orb is going to fall off, because if you didn't think your Discord orb was going to fall off, you wouldn't be charging a right click. And what I mean by that is, you don't expect Hog to walk forward right now. If you did, you wouldn't be charging a right click, because
Yeah.
because left clicks would make more sense. It doesn't make sense to go into a right click if you know you're only going to get a 1, a 2, or a 3 orb off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Probably not a right click again. I think you could have found left clicks here pretty easily. Okay.
Tranquility.
Sure.
Say it.
Okay. I might do a quick peek over here just because I want to make sure that I'm not about to get destroyed through here. Also, there might be something cute to get through here before going back through here. I wouldn't go walk up here. That would be a Casty, a Reaper move, that sort of thing. But I might take a quick peek through there to see if there's a cute angle. Because, again, my team somewhat had this direction controlled. And I can shoot through my team, but I want to make sure I'm not getting jumped by one of the flank routes. Okay. Sure, you're winning hard enough to do this. I don't know that I'd have been willing to look away from that entrance the way that you did, but okay. Oh yeah? Frontline Zen? Oh, sure.
B1.
This happens. You dragon into there. That's an entrance. I guess you feel okay because the dragon's going through it. But you see how you're just chilling here with that entrance that enemies can come through? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Gotcha.
I don't love that. Okay.
B1. Fight the universe.
Okay. You can do this because you have a right click charged if you have a good grasp of when the enemies dived and how far up they could be. But we're not gonna stay in the front line, right? We're not gonna stay in the front line.
Watching your back.
Your friend Hog. Your friends Hog and Ash. Okay. Cool. You're gonna go take the power position. And again, like, ideally, a DPS would go hold this. You might go join a DPS or a Sigma up here. Maybe your Zarya up here, whatever the case may be. Since no one's taking it, you can take this. Usually we'd prefer to take maybe something, you know, a little more defensive. DPS here, DPS here. But hey, this is a really strong spot. It's high ground, which is a little more protection still from the opponents. We could take it.
Darkness falls.
Okay. Okay, you're gonna have to charge another right click. Yep. That was slow. And you know that was slow. So you went through here for the Ana, and this is you making a play, and I'm totally fine with you making a play in a fight that had sort of stalled out, was getting hard for either team to really make a move in. You get hit with this rock here. You hear the dragon going off. You know it's not your dragon. I'm just going to trance this. You're in a bad spot. Transcendence will give you 300% movement speed. Presumably that dragon is doing something, and it would be reasonable to Transcendence in this situation. It wouldn't be a great Transcendence, but even if the dragon wasn't going off, even if you didn't need a way to get out of here and weren't being about to threatened with being one-shot by Sigma, this wouldn't be the worst Transcendence in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like Transcendence now. Dead, we're late, our team gets crushed. Yeah, just a little slow. Oh boy. I probably would have said, forget it, we have to challenge the Hanzo rather than the Sigma who's holding shift up. It's not good, but like there was nothing good coming out of there.
Repetition is the path to mastery.
Fire at will.
Thank you, Zarya, for grabbing while half of our team is missing. Hey.
Heal up.
Genji's the most aggressive. We've orbed him. Cool.
Be one with the universe.
60 seconds remaining.
Yeah. So this happened. It's not the worst thing in the world.
The master still
I get
has a
what you're
few
doing. I
tools.
get why you're here. This is the sort of thing where we're like, ah, yes, I'm doing this. I'm trying to contribute. I'm trying to peel. And I don't hate this at all. We're in this situation where we're trying to help our team out. But this is, again, an example of, like, in our ideal world, we aren't holding this flank. We're a little bit more like, hey, I'm back here doing this sort of thing. Like, you can hit basically all of the same stuff. You can still scoot through here and go for cross shots like this. We don't need to be on top of the battle. There's not a good reason for us to be this close to a fight. Now, I know a Genji came through. I know there's a Tracer, but we can be a little bit further away. The reason that Zen gets close to fights mostly has to do with, hey, my Brig has walked into the fight, and I'd rather be near my Brig for safety. You don't have a Brig, so yeah.
60 seconds remaining.
We don't like dying to shotguns.
Nope.
Walk it off.
Pain is an excellent teacher.
Okay.
30 seconds remaining.
Got the Discord ball at that time. That's better. Close the angle. Close the angle. Close the angle. Yeah. Now, not the end of the world, but you get hit by the purple, and you're just like, nah, I'm going to power through it. I'm still good. Anna was just able to hit you with the purple. Anna's going to probably continue to shoot at you. She's going to be distracted healing teammates, don't get me wrong. But, like, even that alone is like, wait, I probably don't want to keep this angle open. I probably want to let this purple fall off. No big deal. You instead go, no, I'm going to keep contributing. Just close the angle and start charging a right click. Just close the angle and start charging a right click. You took damage. You know, just like Bap takes poke damage, he presses shift. You take poke damage that you don't like. You're generally going to close the angle and start charging a right click.
I am under
Instead,
attack.
this is what Tracers do, right? They see a nade, they see a Discord, they see a body shot, they see a Ferro Rocket, and they jump on the target. And, like, if you keep the angle open, you're more options.
Yeah, I understood that, but should I have closed the angle before the nade?
No.
Or, like,
Yeah, I mean,
after?
if you dodged the nade, great, but no, you were at full health. You didn't see a great reason, unless you thought you were actively getting shot at, like you, the character, Zen, not your team, were getting shot at. There's not a reason to close it earlier. It's once you've taken some of the chip damage, or you see, oh, they're actively shooting at me, you close the angle, start charging the right click. That'll cause them to forget about you. That'll cause you, if you took damage, to, you know, begin to get closer to the time at which you start to recharge shields, and that'll then allow you to go, okay, now I'm not taking damage while I'm charging, and I'll deliver less total damage by sending out a right click than I would have by left clicking the whole time, but I was safer for that time that I was charging it. So, like, my safety per damage goes up even if my total damage goes down. And what would have happened is Tracer still would have come through, but you would have then potentially had a 3 orb charged up when Tracer comes through, and then it's like, okay, well, I can play this game. It's not great, but I can play this game, right? And you're less overwhelmed. Okay.
Yeah.
Like Newton and
Team kill.
That said, they're on Genji Tracer. They have been for a couple. Okay, now you're over on Lucio. Doesn't matter.
Overtime.
Okay, you guys have some overtime here.
yeah, let's move it, people. Let's
Get you healed up.
This is gonna be Lucio time. And that's probably the end? Yeah, okay. So, couple things that I'd really get into for you. First thing that I'm going to get into is you do need to get your Zen positioning right, get your Zen positioning back, however we need to think about this. But basically, you do still have this situation where you're a little too happy to go, let's maybe get our screen a little cleaner there, where you're a little too happy to go, hey, I want to have this wide angle here while my team is up over here. Or, hey, I want to be in front of my team when my team is here, or that sort of thing. And with Zen, like, we really can think of it as, yes, the wing position that you've taken a couple times, like this one, that exists. That helps you make plays, but, like, we still want to even fall back from that. Like, we might even rotate into a wing position while charging up a right click and deliver that right click and then charge up another right click as we work our way back into it, sort of. Like, we like the behind our team sort of thing. And we don't have to be directly behind them. It can be a thing where, hey, like, my team is to the left, my team is to the right, I'm back here, or I'm back here where I've got cover. That's fine. I don't mind. Like, if you're going, hey, my teammates are here and my teammates are here, and you're here, sure. In theory, there's a straight line between you and that cave that enemies could come from, but they'd have to walk, through your teammates' crossfire, and they'd have to cover some distance. But we'd like a little bit more of a, hey, your teammates are in front of you relative to the enemies, even if they're not directly between you and the enemies. We'd like more of that, and we'd like less, the enemies can just sort of, like here you might go, hey, my teammates were sort of in front of me relative to the enemies, but this is just totally open for them to walk through. And your teammates aren't going to be able to, like, ooh, over the bridge to punish them, right? Or over the gas station to punish them. So, like,
Yeah.
that's it, and this applies everywhere. So I kind of want you to wrap your head around Zen positioning, generally going to be behind the team. You rotate into more aggressive angled positions like an Ana might, but you do that with right clicks. You do that to make plays. You still want to drift yourself back, generally speaking, into more behind your team positions. The exception to this would really be when the angled position just is so much more powerful, like high ground like this, that you actually feel safer here than you do here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's what we're looking at there. That would be the first thing that I would want you to work on. The second thing that I would want you to work on would be you're just too easy to go into the right clicks there. Obviously, right click, left click distribution on Zen is a never-ending issue. Players have to work on it quite hard to ultimately get it right. But when it
Yeah.
comes to Zen, you are like hair trigger for going into a right click, and then you'll leave the angle open for this right click that you're charging. And I'm just like, well, come on, pick one or the other. Like, you have to either go, hey, I'm going to close the angle and charge the right click, or I'm not. And I think you not closing the angle when you charge your right clicks is because you expect that the enemy is going to show up within 1 to 2 orbs of charge time, and you just have to have the discipline to not start the right click in that situation, to instead just be, I'm going to be ready to aim the left click and accept that I'm going to get better damage, I'm going to have better orb mobility, all those sorts of things. Do you see what I'm talking about, and do you think you can
Yeah.
work on making that correction?
Yeah. Sure.
Perfect. And then the last thing I'd get into would just be your Harmony Orb placement. Again, your Harmony Orb, we do want to get into, hey, we'd like to enable DPS with that more than we'd like to enable Reinhardt, Sarissas, even Roadhogs and Zaryas. It can go on to Winston's and Hammonds, okay on Divas, but really, we would like that on our DPS, specifically the DPS that is smart enough to start taking angles and getting aggressive like that. Ooh, they get a Harmony Orb. That's sort of where we'd like to let it rest most of the time. If we're moving it around to heal people, that's fine, but we'd like to let it rest on the DPS that's on the aggressive angle there. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I know you had questions at the beginning that couldn't come to you. I know a few came to you throughout. Do any more questions come to you, or do you want any more clarification on any of these things that I'd like you to work on one at a time?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah.
I want to ask you like a personal question. Do you like when you play? Do you usually map up the enemy team in your mind, like before the fight, like in the pre-poking?
As you get better and better at the game, you're going to track all 12 players. You're not going to perfectly track all 12 players because you don't have perfect information at all times, but you will build the number of players that you are mentally tracking. You would do the same thing in basketball, you do the same thing in soccer. This is also something that you do in Overwatch where you start going, "Hey, according to my most recent information and then movement speed, I saw them with the sonic arrow." And you might as then go, "Hey, I'm looking at the other team. The things that are most important for me to track are going to be their Genji and their Tracer and their Roadhog. So I'm going to track those. And then I'm also going to track where my other support is. So I'm tracking where my Ana is. So now I know where 5 players are. And then as you get better, you start going, I'd also like to know where their Ana is because their support doesn't move very much. And that's
Exactly.
going to be a pretty easy target for me to get picks off of. And you start mapping out and just mentally trying to track more of them.
Yeah, yeah. And another question is it fine or like recommended to have a different what do you call reticle
Oh, yeah.
on
Crosshair,
different,
sure, reticle.
yeah,
Oh, um,
on different like aim heroes?
it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world to do it. I personally standardize mine across all of them. I think I know most people do standardize them across all of them, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. It's less jarring, I would say, than changing your sensitivity between heroes.
Yeah. Lastly, is there like a setting from the video section that I should be using or not using that you would recommend?
We're really getting into it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the video settings, let me eyeball them real quick. My settings won't even be perfect because I have to think about stream, I have to think about quality, that sort of thing. So, borderless windowed is obviously not as good as true full screen there. So you would want true full screen if you want to sort of keep things working well there. Make sure you do have your field of view maxed out. You'll sometimes do some of this stuff you can do. Let me take a look here. Graphics quality you generally turn down. So I have my graphics quality not turned down because, I stream, I record, I want this to look somewhat okay. But if you turn your graphics quality down, if you specifically turn your render scale down, you can actually make it somewhat more obvious when you're dealing with an opponent. Like it'll sort of make the red outlines bigger relative to the rest of the game, which can make it a little easier to see the opponents. You can also start getting rid of some of the things that you might hide a Sombra translocator in. Like some of these smaller things here, like, this might not even be here. This bush, if I turned
Yeah.
down the graphical settings enough. So there are benefits to turning down your graphical settings like that, as well as getting your frame rates. Try to do something where you can get a consistent frame rate, preferably a consistent frame rate higher than at or higher than the refresh rate on your screen, which might be 60, might be 144, up to you.
Yeah, and I see that you have the reduce buffering off. Why? Can I ask you why is that?
Probably just because I left it that way. You sometimes have to flick it on, flick it off, etc. when the game starts
Yeah,
getting a little weird, and it's probably just the way that I toggled it, and I hadn't toggled it back yet. It's not some strong, oh, I love or hate it this way, etc.
yeah, yeah. Gotcha. I guess that's all.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
no problem, no problem. Good luck to you, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Good luck to you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.